Yeah, look, someone's driving with the combine and they're harvesting the corn at the same time. Is that Dawn in there? Yeah, that was a really good view. Hello, welcome to my beautiful unschool life. My name is Erin, and this is the YouTube channel where I talk about doing hard things. I built my own house, I grow my own food, and I homeschool my own kids. In today's video, you smell like sugar. Do you smell like sugar?
Oh no, I have candy.
In the spring, I made a video all about my spring to-do list, and I accomplished like
Nothing.
1/12 of the things that I wanted to accomplish. So now I'm going to do a fall to-do list so that I can feel just as unaccomplished after I watch this one over again. All right, so we'll start in the house. So the project to renovate the house this summer did not go as well as I planned. I did get the kitchen mostly finished, but it still needs to have, I gotta cut those cupboards in half and make them smaller because the bow in the cupboards is damaging the hinges. So that's a fairly quick job that I should be able to do in a couple of hours if I ever have time to get around to it. The other thing in the kitchen that isn't finished is there's nothing around these windows. There's no baseboards or framing or anything like that. I want to figure out a way to frame those windows, but they're a little bit complicated because I don't know how to install windows, so I didn't do it properly. So now I have to come up with some sort of interesting way to fix that. We also need to renovate the bathroom, Bethany's room. This space in here in the middle, which we call the step, and it actually needs quite a lot of work. I need to do all baseboards all along the seams where the beadboard doesn't match. And then the living room. We also want to do the living room.
Let me do that bit up there.
Yeah, and that bit up there. Okay, this door I would like to replace. In theory, I would like to replace this door before winter comes because it is falling apart pretty badly and I'm not sure how much longer it's gonna last. So this is fairly high on the priority list, this door here. On the outside, so all of that work on the inside, I will putter away at as the winter progresses, but I don't know how much I'll accomplish. I find winter goes a lot faster than I think it should, and I never accomplish as much as I think I'm going to. On the outside, I really wanted to get some siding on this year. It hasn't happened yet. I don't imagine it's gonna happen unless we have a winter that takes a really long time to start. Back porch, again, I would really like a back porch. I would really like a proper fire escape for the girls' bedroom. And I would really like a front porch on the other side of this greenhouse. I don't know if any of that will happen. I would like to have it done by spring of, it's 2025 now, 2026, by spring of 2027. I would like to have the house finished by spring of 2027 because that's when the girls and I are planning on traveling, and I would like to rent the house out if it's finished. All of that is more distant future than I would like it to be, but it's on my horizon. actually to do in the next few weeks is to put the siding back on my greenhouse and make this a usable space so that in the winter on a sunny day we can sit in here and we can enjoy the sunshine without having to deal with the cold. I would like to be able to heat my greenhouse. There are a lot of plants that I would like to be able to overwinter, but I don't think I will be able to do that this year. Ideally I would heat it with a wood stove, but I would have to find one small enough that it can fit in that space without taking up too much room. Now, this thing that I'm standing in right now is meant to be our bunny barn. We had really hoped to get this done in the spring so that the rabbits could live in here. The girls still really want to do that. So hopefully we'll get that done in the next few weeks.
It's also for my quail. It's also for my quail.
Yeah, it's going to be a bunny barn and a quail barn. So the garden was basically abandoned this year. I was working for a market gardener, and I spent more time in her garden than I spent in mine. We still got quite a bit from the garden, but it's overgrown. It's a disaster. So my plan for this is cut everything down, drop it where it is, cover everything with chicken manure and straw, and then I want to tarp this whole garden. So I am preparing to take 3 years off of gardening, which is a big thing for me. Gardening is a big thing. That's been a big part of my life for about 5 years now. And taking 3 years off gardening is a little bit scary and seems very severe, but I think it's what we need to do. So I'm going to put landscape fabric over this whole thing and just let it sit for the next 3 years in a row. I have a feeling in the spring I'm going to chicken out and I'm going to plant something because I can't bring myself to not plant something. But the plan is to just let it rest for the next 3 years. This garden and the small garden over there. Chicken manure, straw, landscape fabric, and then just leave it for a few years. Kind of dramatic decision. So these two cages here are where our rabbits lived in the summer. We always move them to be underneath this big tree in the summer so that it's nice and cool for them here and they have access to fresh grass. Now that the summer's over, one of those rabbits got murdered by our neighbor's dog, and then the other two rabbits, we have already moved them into the chicken run. Ultimately, we would like them to be in the bunny barn, but I have learned that that's going to take longer than I want it to, so for now they're in the chicken run. These guys are due to be processed in late November, so we have another month and a half of them. I really enjoy having them free range. They really like being out in the grass. They always look so happy. So we will have to do one more butcher. So we need to do the meat chickens, and we have a bunch of roosters that are going to need to either be butchered or sold at auction. I'm not sure which one we'll do. Depends on timing and energy levels. Okay, in the chicken coop, last year I put insulation on the ceiling and on the north wall. I need to insulate the rest. It was too cold in the winter. My rooster still got frostbite on his comb. So I need to finish insulating in the coop. And then I have to make some difficult decisions. I've got two roosters. I've got two roosters who cannot get along with each other. They cannot live together in peace. They have to be separated. And I only have one coop that's winterized. So I have to decide how I want to handle this situation. Do I want to just get rid of some roosters? Because the plan is to slowly bring down the number of chickens that I have, and we're not planning on hatching any eggs next year. So it makes sense to get rid of some roosters, to get rid of at least one or both of the roosters. God, it's really hard to hear myself around here. There's too much noise between the children and the turkeys.
And the tractor.
and the tractor. This is going to be the loudest video I've ever made, I think. So I have to make some difficult decisions. I have to decide if I want to get rid of the roosters. If I want to get rid of... The thing is, he's a good rooster, so he will be useful to somebody. But I just don't know. I just don't know if I'm ready to start clearing out my birds yet. And I don't know where I want to get rid of them to. I don't know. I have some important decisions. I have some big decisions I have to make about what to do with my flock. Because I can't have this many. If we're going to do more world schooling, that's what it's called, when you unschool on the road, or homeschool on the road. If we're going to be doing more world schooling, then I'm going to have to get rid of some of my animals, because Dawn works too long of hours to be taking care of everything for me all the time. So difficult decisions have to be made. Another thing on my to-do list for this fall is I gotta split some wood. Dawn has a diesel powered wood splitter, so I have a machine to help me with that job. But it needs to get to the top of the to-do list now. And then I have one more garden over here that I need to deal with. This here is my perennial garden. It has gooseberries and josta berries and currants and mulberries, and then pawpaws in these buckets here. There are pawpaws, and then elderberries. So we just really quickly slapped this garden together last year, and I did very little to prep the soil. We added a minimal amount of composted cattle manure. So this year I have, and it's been here since spring, I have a great big pile of straw that I want to put on here, and then I'm also going to put some rabbit manure on here, and hopefully that will give these guys the oomph they needed. They all survived the transplant fantastically. I was really surprised and pleased at how well they survived the transplant. They've put a lot of energy into producing roots. Now that they've got some roots, I want to give them some good nutrients so that maybe next year they can give me some berries. And then pile of straw on top of there as mulch. So when I say I'm going to put chicken manure on my garden, there is chicken manure in the chicken coop. I have to clean out the chicken coops for the winter and give them all fresh new straw. And then I also have, this is all the chicken manure that I cleared out in the spring. That's the last winter's chicken manure. So it's had a chance to ferment a little bit so it won't be so hot. And then I also have 3 compost bins here full of my compost, food scraps, garden scraps, grass clippings, that sort of thing. So all of that is going to go onto the garden, and that is a huge job. I have no illusions about how big that job is going to be. I really hope the warm weather holds for a few more months. It's mid-October now. If winter waits until the 1st of November, then I might be able to have all of those jobs done that I need to do before the snow comes. I'm not holding my breath. And then the final thing that you might wonder about is, on my spring to-do list was this camper. It was to take the camper in to see if they could fix it, how much it would cost to fix it, to decide if there was any point in keeping it or fixing it or selling it or just tossing it. I have since not taken it in. My truck died 2 months ago, and it's still in the shop. He's working on it. It's a big job. He had to wait for parts, one of those things. So, but since bringing it home, I've noticed just how rough a shape it is in. These screws, this just fell out. This piece here just fell out because there's nothing there for the screws. The wood is all rotted out, so there's nothing for the screws to hold on to. And you can also see it here, how rotted the wood is. It's just falling apart in here. And the inside is all moldy. Don works sometimes for a mold and asbestos remediation company. And so he's very very insistent that nobody should be sleeping in this camper. He says if you can see that much mold, there's going to be 10 times as much mold that you can't see. So Don is telling me that under no circumstances should we bother fixing this. It's a write-off. I have two options from there. One is to save it for parts. Two is to give it to a repair place that would use it for parts. There are parts on here that are valuable, mainly the jacks. The jacks are the most valuable thing on there. A lot of the other stuff doesn't work anyways, so there's really no point in fixing it or in saving it, but the jacks are worth money, especially if one of my dreams is to maybe build a truck camper one day, because you know, I've got all the time in the world, right? Look at how much, nothing on my to-do list. So yeah, that's a thing that's in my mind that I would like to do. So I guess that is it for me for another week. Last week's video was all music, and this week's video is pretty much all talking. Who knows what it'll be the following week. Maybe I'll actually be doing some work on something. Nah, don't be ridiculous. Anyways, thank you very much for hanging out with me once again. It's a pleasure to have you here. We'll see you next time. Take care. I know I said I was done, but I'm editing this video and I have one more thought, which is, why do I tell you this? Why do I make this video about my to-do list? Why did I do it in the spring, and why am I doing it now? I suppose part of it is just for myself, to sort of, you know, record it so that I hold myself accountable. But I mean, I already know that it's impossible, so that can't be the reason. I think actually the real reason is to normalize, number one, just how completely overwhelming it is to live like this. And number two, that you're not gonna ever accomplish it all. So be kind to yourself about it. And the temptation that I am struggling with is, as long as there are 35 things on my to-do list, that means I should never stop. I should never take leisure time. I should never rest unless I'm actually sick. And it's just not sustainable. It's gonna be like this forever. If I'm gonna live in an off-grid tiny house and grow my own food and homeschool my kids, the to-do list will always be 35 items long. I need to take a break now and then. It's never gonna get better. I have to just make an active, conscious decision to slow down, be kind to myself, and stop putting such emphasis on the to-do list. So I guess part of my reason for making this video is I came into this unprepared for the never-ending to-do list. I did not expect it to be this much work forever and ever. Amen. And so maybe if you are watching this video and you're thinking about living like this, you will think to yourself, I should just make sure to factor in self-care from the very beginning. Because here I am several years in, and I am finding it very, very difficult to take care of myself. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I'll see you next time.